G'day. Yep, that's right. Despite it being the year 2023, a new Indiana Jones movie was released today. So I went on down to the theater, got my frozen Coke, or what the machine had left, and my butter, sat down, looked for the exits, in case this movie was a stinker.
And please take a moment to find the exit closest to you, in case of emergency.
Hi Nicole Kidman.
For magic. We come to AMC theaters to laugh, to cry, to care.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. And then watch the greatest film I've ever seen in my life. Now, stop watching this. It's going to have spoilers, a few of them. Go see it yourself. Make up your own mind. Don't listen to anyone else. Listen to me. Go watch this movie, because I want to talk about this movie. Indiana Jones and the Destiny of Dialing? No, wait. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Well, they've come a long way since the title of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, although I like that one. Well, I like the beginning of that one. It was great. It came out like more than a decade ago. Can you believe it? Full disclosure, this is Freddy Krueger's hat, not Indy's. Glad I got that off my chest. Why did I like this movie so much? Well, it starts off in 1944. I think the Allies are invading Europe, trying to liberate it. That's what the winners call it. Indiana Jones on the top of a train with his friend. They're trying to save the Holy Lance or some other ancient object, where they find the Dial of Destiny. Now this is a clock made by Archimedes. Now I've only ever heard of Archimedes making a death ray, so I'm glad they didn't do that with this movie. It would have been cool, I guess, but the Dial of Destiny, turns out, is a time machine, or has the potential to be a time machine, as we will find out. Our villain, Voller, or Mr. Schmidt, he worked with NASA to create the moon rocket, which they're celebrating now in the 60s. Yes, Indiana Jones now lives in the 60s. Amazing. We're dragged into the 60s by the enchantful song Magical Mystery Tour by the Beatles. His neighbor is playing it too darn loud. Update, Shia LaBeouf is not in this movie. He's dead. I think they're just trying to appease fans at this point. He died in Vietnam, and Indy bears that as a wound. It collapsed his marriage. He's now alone. He's retired. Well, he's just newly retired when he gets caught up with his goddaughter, Helena, who is the daughter of the friend from the beginning on top of the train. Okay, good, we're all caught up. They go to Tangier after she steals the Dial of Destiny from Indy. He tries to get it back there. We then meet her sidekick, Teddy, a very smart, intelligent young man who wants to fly a plane and doesn't know how to swim. These two things are rectified throughout the film, you can imagine. They escape from Voller and head to the sea to try to find a sunken Roman vessel which has the map on board that can show them where the other half of the Dial of Destiny is located. Yes, I think this is the greatest film ever made. Sit with me. They get it. They find that it's buried with Archimedes in Archimedes' tomb. They locate the tomb. It becomes a little like the Goonies. They could have switched out Archimedes for One-Eyed Willie. I'm glad they didn't. But then Voller and his Nazi henchmen arrive at the same time. They take the Dial of Destiny, put it together. They all board an aeroplane. then fly into the sky, as aeroplanes do, trying to locate the time fissure, not Carrie Fisher. It's in fact more like the Langoliers when they fly through the Aurora Borealis to time travel. Just to let you know, Langoliers is one of my favorite films, so now you see where my mind's at. Voller wants to take them back in time to aid in the Nazis' win of World War II and then take over the world, I guess. But he didn't calculate for continental drifts. Whoever does. And they wind back 2,000 years into the past at the Siege of Sicily. Now this is amazing to me. I love the Roman Empire. And at first I thought we're just going to get a glance of like blue sky, because it was there's a storm brewing in the 60s, and then they enter the time fissure, then they see like blue sky daytime. I'm like, this is going to be our only glimpse of 2,000 years ago. But no. We see Roman battleships and giant cannonballs and arrows being flown at them. The plane crashes, but luckily Teddy, who can't fly a plane or swim, who swam earlier, lands a plane to rescue them. Indy can't believe his eyes. They even meet Archimedes. Luckily they both know Latin. I'm glad they made the Romans look like Romans should look, and not, you know, modern day Italian, but let's keep that to ourselves. Indy wants to stay in the past. He's wounded and he wants to live out the rest of his life. In ancient history, you can imagine archaeological historian, that's like the greatest gift that they could ever achieve. But no, the goddaughter Helena brings him back to the future, reunites him with Marion from Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls, and okay, Raiders of the Lost Ark. And then he hangs up his hat outside on a peg on the line on the fire escape. But no, the last second he drags it back inside. So Indy's not hanging up his hat. Isn't that great? I mean, I can hear people now saying, I want a young Indiana Jones movie, not old man grandpa. But Harrison Ford is still with us, great actor. So why not use him and explore deeper into Indy's psyche and the turmoil he has experienced. One of the great scenes is when Helena theoretically and like scientifically asks him, where would you go if you could time travel? And he says, back in time and stop my son from going to war. And then she, of course, is still thinking scientifically about that, like a how would you save JFK question. And she says, how would you do that? And he said, tell him he's going to die and that it'll destroy his mother and ruin our marriage. And then he walks away. And then she calls after him, Helena the goddaughter does, and said, you're still wearing your wedding ring? A little line that it's not all over. And then we find out at the end it's not. Beautiful. Harrison Ford is at the top of his game, despite what anyone tells you. I'm okay if they want to do a spin-off with Helena films. Go ahead. Just don't use the same music. Now to some negative things about this film. It does look like young Harrison Ford in the beginning. There's a few milliseconds of uncanny valleys, but isn't there always on treacherous walks? And this is a treacherous walk indeed. Every other Indiana Jones film opened with the Paramount Pictures logo and the mountain turning into another full body monolith, but this time nothing, didn't turn into anything. Indy was wearing a sack over his head in the very beginning. They could have chosen that as the mountain, but then maybe they did try that and it was just goofy, so they just cut it out altogether. Or maybe they're signaling that this isn't your grandfather's Indiana Jones. That's good. That's the thing I can't understand. Indiana Jones was always based on crappy B movies from the 30s and 40s. Old adventure films. And if they were to make an old adventure film with like a time travel element, they would have gone back to ancient Rome, of course. The old people were obsessed with the Roman Empire. It's all they were taught in school. Of course, back then they just would have used stock footage of some old MGM giant epic picture to portray the Roman soldiers. But no, this was brand new footage of the Romans. I felt like I was there, looking at the battles like Indy would. People are going to hate this, I know, but I loved it. What do you expect out of a movie? Okay, it's meant to be fictional, it's meant to be adventurous. You have a great John Williams score, exotic locations, fast-paced adventure. It didn't look as bad as Kingdom Skulls with Shia LaBeouf with a sword fight with, what's the Australian broad's name? Fighting on top of jeeps through the jungle. Kate Blanchett. Well, anyway, what did you think of the film? Oh, okay. Okay, that's fair enough. Thanks for watching. Da 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 da. There better be another one, and we better not have to wait another decade or so because you know, some of the characters aren't getting any younger. I think we can all relate to that.